I'm going to share with you how to connect with any audience or prospective referral source about Braver Angels. Stay sharp and engaging in every conversation about Braver Angels. Now, understand that even as volunteers, Braver Angels is not the only thing that we talk to people about. And there are many ways into a conversation about Braver Angels. You don't necessarily even need to name it in order to get into a conversation about it. The fourth thing is to feel confident about Braver Angels in networking situations, and especially when you're talking to people who have different opinions and different political viewpoints than you. Sometimes it feels kind of scary to start these conversations. But as we learn in many of the Braver Angels workshops, there are ways into those conversations. And many people don't realize that the concept came from Congress. And this was back in the day. Some of you may remember when people were still talking to one another. If you needed to persuade another legislator, you needed to do it in the time, in the space of an elevator ride. It's not about actually getting in the elevator. It's about the amount of time that you have to engage another person or to get your point across. And as I mentioned, in this day and age, you have about 7 to 10 seconds. We've been conditioned to move on so quickly. And so the role of this elevator speech is to kind of stop that moving on and say something of interest that people are going to go, ooh, tell me some more about that. So who's your audience is the primary first question. What do they care about? What's important to them? Understanding who's in the room and who it is you're trying to persuade is really key to all of your communication. And if you start answering this question and the next question was, what do they care about? What's important to them? The third question is what's in it for them? That WIIFT is what's in it for them. So who's your audience? What do they care about? And what's in it for them? Those are the three questions. So now, hopefully everybody got a chance to share what insights or ideas came from your conversations, or what did you notice that was interesting or valuable?
There's a lot of hesitancy and fear, not fear, but how do you make this safe for the other person? And I hear you wanting to do that by saying, what do they care about? I think we both came to the conclusion of kind of like, we kind of know what they care about, but how do we make it safe for them to connect with that part of them and themselves?
That's a perfect way in. So Braver Angels is a safe place for people to talk about opposing points of view, where we don't make enemies out of each other. People want safety in their relationships. They want a safe place to talk about what's important to them, and Braver Angels provides that. What are we selling? What is Braver Angels selling? Now that may sound like an odd thing. It has to do with the feelings. We were just talking about fear, and one of the things that Braver Angels does is make us less fearful of other people. You know, I can remember the first time I went to a red blue workshop as a participant. I was a bit fearful. I don't know that many people who think differently from me in my day-to-day life. And so I wasn't sure if I would be attacked, what would happen. And at the end of the day, I realized we have way more common than we're led to believe. And so that was a revelation to me. And it took the fear out of being around people that I disagree with. Doesn't mean I like their politics, but I don't turn them into enemies. I don't turn them into monsters.
That it changes one's image of our fellow citizens in a positive way.
For me, it's making the distinction between acknowledging and agreeing. That opened my world.
Acknowledging versus agreeing. Yeah.
Acknowledging. Yeah, exactly.
I don't currently have a yard sign, but I think about getting one. If I did put up a yard sign, then I'd have to have an elevator speech ready, because I assume people are going to maybe say, well, what's this Braver Angels thing? And that's why I was so excited to see this training. Does that make any sense to approach it from that angle?
Is it the Hold America Together sign?
Yeah.
Is that the one you're thinking about?
Yeah.
There's a Braver Angels in the Midwest who used that sign as an entry into a presentation. She went to a local, it might have been a chamber or one of the other Rotary. It might have been a Rotary. And she brought the sign with her, and it said, "This sign has changed my life." That sign is a very powerful tool. So let me ask you, why do you feel like you want to put it out in your front yard?
Because I've had some conversations about politics within the neighborhood.
That's where you start. I'm putting this sign in my yard because I want to start a conversation with people who have different opinions than mine. And I think its message is, I think holding our country together is more important than talking about our differences. I want to find out what we have in common. So I want to start that conversation. And so that's how the elevator speech works. It's a living, breathing tool.